I was cooking dinner. When my 7-year-old son asked, "Dad, can I have the blue gum Uncle Theo gives me?" I froze. "Uncle Theo gives you that?" He nodded. "Yes." It makes the room spin. I checked his backpack, and what I found made my blood run cold. Sup, Reddit. Grab some snacks and strap in because this one gets real messy. Let me paint you a picture first. I'm Connor, 34 male, network security guy for a mid-size firm in Phoenix. Divorced 3 years back after my ex-wife Lisa decided to explore her options with her yoga instructor. She didn't want kids, I did. So when she left, I got full custody of our 7-year-old son, Finn. Best thing that came out of that relationship. Finn's a good kid, loves dinosaurs, draws pictures of robots. We had our routine down. I'd work from home 3 days a week, take him to school, pick him up, make dinner that he'd complain about, then we'd watch whatever cartoon he was obsessed with. My family, though? Different story. My older brother Theo was the golden child from birth. Parents treated him like he breathed innovation and success. Meanwhile, I was the spare tire, the backup plan, the kid they'd mention second when people asked how their sons were doing. Theo got the flashy business school. I got student loans for state college. But here's the thing about golden children nobody talks about. They're usually made of fool's gold. All that glitters and whatnot. Tuesday night, I'm making tacos. Finn's at the kitchen table supposedly doing homework, but actually building something with Legos. Kid's been quiet lately, slower than usual, like someone dialed down his energy settings. I figured maybe he was coming down with something, or going through a growth spurt. "Dad, can I have one of the blue things Uncle Theo gives me?" I stopped mid-chop. "What blue things?" He didn't look up from his Legos. "The candy. He says it's special. Makes the room spin in a fun way." Every alarm bell in my head started screaming. Theo didn't do anything out of kindness. The guy once charged our grandmother interest on a birthday loan. "Finn, where are these blue things?" "My backpack. The front pocket. Uncle Theo said to take one when I feel sleepy at Grandma's house. Said it'll wake me up better than video games." I crossed the kitchen in 3 steps. Finn's Spider-Man backpack hung by the door, already packed for his weekend at my parents' place. I unzipped the front pocket, and my stomach dropped. Pill bottle. Amber plastic. White cap. No label, just scratch marks where someone had scraped one off. I opened it. Inside sat maybe 15 small blue tablets, diamond-shaped, unmarked. These weren't vitamins. These weren't anything you'd give a kid voluntarily. "Finn, how many of these did you take today?" 2. One after lunch, one after soccer practice. Grandma said Uncle Theo knows best about health stuff. The world tilted. "Get your shoes, now." "But Dad, the tacos." "Now, Finn." The drive to Phoenix Children's Hospital was a blur of red lights I rolled through and speed limits I ignored. Finn sat in the back seat getting quieter, his head lolling against the window. I kept checking the rearview mirror, watching his eyes flutter. "Stay awake, buddy. Tell me about the robot you were building. What's his name?" "Blaster." "Everything's fuzzy, Dad. Why's the car spinning?" I pressed the accelerator harder. The ER at Phoenix Children's was chaos. Screaming kid with a broken arm, teenager who'd been in a skateboarding accident, exhausted parents everywhere looking like they'd aged 10 years in the waiting room. I carried Finn through the automatic doors, his breathing shallow against my neck. "My son took pills. Unknown substance. He's 7. Please, somebody help him." A nurse showed up, took one look at Finn's dilated pupils, blown so wide there was barely any color left, and suddenly we had a full team. They pulled him from my arms, and I felt that moment of pure helplessness, watching them lay him on a gurney, watching his head loll to the side, watching them start shouting medical terms I didn't understand, toxicology, gastric lavage, activated charcoal. Someone shoved consent forms at me. 3 pages of legal jargon while my kid was maybe dying 10 feet away. My hands shook so badly I could barely hold the pen, barely make the signature look like actual letters instead of a child's scribble. "Sir, do you have the pills? We need to identify what he ingested." I handed over the bottle and watched the nurse's expression change to alarm. She looked at the unmarked blue tablets, shook her head. "Get Dr. Lopez. Now. And call poison control." They pushed me back behind a yellow line, painted on the floor. Through the window, I watched them work. IV line that took 3 tries. Monitors beeping all over the place. Moving with urgent precision. A doctor appeared. Older guy with gray at his temples and glasses hanging from a chain. He grabbed the pill bottle, examined the tablets under light, his whole body going stiff. 20 minutes felt like 20 years. I paced that small waiting area, checking my phone even though nobody had called. Then, Dr. Lopez stormed out. He was still holding the pill bottle in a gloved hand, face barely holding it together. Mr. Gilmore, do you know what these are? No, my brother gave them to my son. Told him they were special vitamins. Dr. Lopez held up the bottle. These are unmarked. No manufacturing stamps. No identifying markers. That's never good. We're treating this as an unknown ingested substance. We've started gastric lavage, activated charcoal, and we're running comprehensive toxicology screens. I've also contacted poison control to see if they can help identify based on appearance and symptoms. Is he going to be okay? The next 12 hours are critical. Unknown substances are dangerous because we don't know what we're treating. His pupils are severely dilated, heart rate is elevated, he's showing signs of central nervous system depression. We're treating symptoms and filtering his blood, but until we know what this is, he paused. I need you to find out who gave these to your son and what they are. The floor felt like it was dropping out. He's 7 years old. I know, which is why we need answers fast. If your brother knows what these are, you need to get that information now. I sat down hard, put my head in my hands. My phone buzzed. Instagram notification. I pulled it out with numb fingers. Theo had tagged me in a post. 3 photos. Him leaning against a red Ferrari 488, designer sunglasses, throwing a peace sign, close-up of cream leather seats. Him holding up a bottle, surrounded by people laughing. Caption, dreams don't work unless you do. Hard work pays off when you're willing to take risks others won't. Posted 37 minutes ago. While my son was having his stomach pumped, something cold settled in my chest. I called Kevin, my friend from work, senior penetration tester, guy who could break into any system given enough time. We'd been friends since college. He picked up on the second ring. Connor? Man, it's 1 a.m. Finn's in the ER. My brother poisoned him. I need your help. Silence. Then rustling. I'm getting dressed. Be there in 20. Bring your laptop. Everything you know about digital forensics. I'm going to burn his life down. Consider it done. Kevin showed up about an hour later with coffee and a laptop bag. Big guy, 6'3". He took one look at Finn through the window and his face went dark. How bad? Won't know for days, maybe weeks. Could be permanent damage. He might never be the same. Dr. Lopez let me back in once Finn was stable enough. Seeing him in that hospital bed broke something in me. His face looked too pale against the white sheets. Too small. Too vulnerable. I pulled a chair up and held his hand. So I told Kevin about growing up in Theo's shadow. How our parents remortgaged their house twice to fund Theo's failed startups. How Theo crashed a leased Porsche drunk at 22 and Dad paid off the cops. How I worked 3 jobs through college while he got a condo and an allowance at a private business school he dropped out of twice. How he was always taking, always scheming, always looking for the angle. My phone rang. Mom. I stared at it for 3 rings before answering. Connor, where are you? We're all at the club for Theo's car reveal party. You're not answering his messages. This is very inconsiderate. I'm at the hospital. Finn's in the ICU. Beat of silence. Then irritation, not concern. Oh, for heaven's sake, what happened now? Did he fall off his bike again? He took the pills Theo gave him. The ones Theo told him were vitamins. He's having his blood filtered through a machine right now because of the poison your golden boy fed him. Longer pause. I heard plates clinking. Party noise in the background. Connor, you're being dramatic. Theo gave him supplements. Quality vitamins. Very expensive ones. He's trying to help because, frankly, you don't feed that child properly. All those processed foods and fast food. Theo's looking out for his nephew. The doctor said it's TCP4, Mom. Banned experimental drugs. Said it could cause permanent brain damage. Finn's 7 years old and he might never be the same because your favorite son needed cash for a Ferrari. That's ridiculous. Theo would never. You're just jealous. You've always been jealous of your brother's success. This is exactly like you, trying to ruin his big night with your drama. Kevin grabbed the phone from my hand before I could say something I'd regret. Ma'am, this is Connor's colleague Kevin. Your grandson is in critical condition. The police have been notified. I strongly suggest you and your husband come to Phoenix Children's Hospital immediately. He hung up before she could respond. She coming? Doubt it. My phone pinged. Email notification. Bank alert for transactions over $500. Withdrawal. $12,000 from account 4429. Authorized by joint holder. My blood went cold. That was Finn's savings account. Money I'd been putting away since he was born. The only person with access besides me was my father, listed as emergency guardian from back when Lisa and I first divorced, in case something happened to me. I logged into the bank app. Gone. Transferred 2 hours ago to an LLC called Apex Ventures Group. Kevin leaned over, saw the screen. Is that Finn's college fund. Everything I've saved for 7 years. They stole it to help Theo buy that car. Kevin's face went dark. We're going to bury him, Connor. Not just him. All of them. The door opened. Detective Jolie walked in. Late 40s. Looked tired. She introduced herself. Asked questions. Took notes. When I showed her the pills and explained about Theo, her face hardened. I'll get these to our lab immediately. We need to identify what we're dealing with. I showed her the bank transfer. 12 grand today. From my son's account to my brother's company. Jolie nodded. That's a start, but we need more. What did the doctors say? They're treating it as an unknown substance. Running tox screens. They don't know what it is yet. I'll coordinate with the hospital lab and ours. We'll fast-track this. She looked at Finn through the window. I'm opening an investigation. If your brother poisoned a child, I will find out. Kevin and I exchanged looks. Detective, I said, what if we had video evidence? Financial records? Documented proof of multiple victims? Then I'd tell you not to do anything that would compromise the investigation. But if such evidence came into my possession through proper channels, she left it hanging. Look, if you acquire evidence, you call me immediately. We coordinate. I want this guy, but I want it to stick in court. We'll call you. After she left, Kevin opened his laptop. Your brother. Where does he keep his files? Parents' house. They have this massive place in Scottsdale. Theo uses their garage as his office. You have access? I know the alarm code. Haven't changed it in 5 years. 7381. Kevin grinned. Then let's go shopping for evidence. A few hours later, around 4 a.m., Dr. Lopez found me in the waiting room. I'd been going back and forth between sitting with Finn and pacing the halls. We got the tox screen results back. Also heard from the lab detective Jolie coordinated with. His face was serious. It's TCP4, experimental synthetic hallucinogen mixed with a CNS depressant. The FDA banned all trials 6 years ago after multiple deaths. It's Schedule 1 now, highly illegal, no accepted medical use. How bad? For a 7-year-old? Very bad. We're continuing dialysis, but if he's been taking this regularly, he paused. This could cause permanent cognitive impairment, memory loss, developmental delays, seizures. We won't know the full extent until he stabilizes. My blood ran cold. Will he live? Yes. The immediate danger has passed, but the long-term effects, he shook his head. This kind of chemical assault at his age, the damage could be severe and lifelong. We left the hospital late that afternoon. My neighbor Mrs. Smith agreed to sit with Finn. Said she'd call if anything changed. She was this tough 60-year-old woman who'd helped me with childcare since the divorce, treated Finn like her own grandson. When I told her what happened, she was so angry. You burn them down, Connor. Burn it all. I will. Kevin drove us to my apartment. We were both running on fumes and cold coffee, but neither of us could sleep. Jolie had called an hour earlier, said she had enough for a warrant based on the pills, the medical reports, and the bank transfer showing motive. I need your help executing it, she'd said. Your brother keeps his records at your parents' address in Scottsdale, right? You know the layout, the alarm code. I want you there when we go in, but you stay outside. My team handles the search, everything by the book. Defense attorneys love to scream about tainted evidence. We're not giving them that opening. When? Tonight. 2 a.m. Before your brother realizes we're coming for him. I'm getting the warrant signed now. Judge Harmon owes me a favor and she doesn't like child abusers. Kevin and I sat in my apartment until 1:30, watching the clock, drinking terrible gas station coffee. Neither of us spoke much. At 1:45, we drove to the meeting point, gas station 2 blocks from my parents' house. Jolie was there with 3 other detectives and 2 uniformed officers. She had the warrant in hand, fresh from Judge's signature. Alarm code? She asked, all business. 7381. Main panel is just inside the front door. Garage entrance is on the left. That's where Theo keeps his office set up. Computer, filing cabinets, the whole operation. Jolie nodded to her team, went over the plan. 2 officers on the perimeter in case anyone tried to run. 4 detectives going in, 2 securing the main house, 2 hitting the garage immediately. Everything documented, everything photographed. This is airtight, she said, looking at each team member. We do this clean, by the numbers. I don't want some defense attorney getting this thrown out because we cut corners. Understood? Everyone agreed. She turned to me and Kevin. You 2 stay with Officer Brooks in the vehicle. You watch, you don't participate. If anyone asks later, you provided the alarm code and waited in the car. Got it? Got it. I watched from Brooks's cruiser as Jolie's team approached the house. The street was dead quiet, just porch lights and the occasional dog barking in the distance. They moved fast and professional. Used my code at the panel. Lights came on inside. I could see my parents through the living room window. Dad in a bathrobe, looking confused, then pissed. Mom clutching her robe like it was armor. Jolie's voice carried through the open door, calm and firm. Stephen and Kathy Gilmore, we have a warrant to search these premises for evidence related to an ongoing criminal investigation. You need to step back and let us work. Dad's voice, loud and mad. This is outrageous. It's 2 a.m. We have rights. We have lawyers. You can't just barge in here. We absolutely can. We have a signed warrant. You're welcome to call your lawyer, but we're executing this search right now. You can cooperate or you can obstruct. I couldn't hear the rest, but I saw Dad's face go red. Mom was crying. Neither of them moved to stop the search. What could they do? Jolie's team was thorough. I watched them photograph everything before they touched it. Watched them bag and label. Watched them carry out Theo's computer tower, the monitors, boxes of files, external hard drives. They worked for 45 minutes. Then Jolie came out carrying an evidence bag. Even from the car, I could see what was inside. Black leather binder. She walked straight over to our vehicle. Your brother kept very detailed records, she said, holding up the bag. Medical trial logbook. Subject names, ages, dosages, results, side effects, all in his handwriting. 15 subjects documented, including your son. He wrote, Subject 15. Male, 7, family access, excellent compliance, subject trust provider completely. He documented poisoning your kid like it was a science experiment. My hands clenched into fists. Kevin put a hand on my shoulder. Videos too, Jolie continued. Your brother apparently thought he was building some kind of groundbreaking research database. Dumb criminals document their crimes. Your brother took it to an art form. Is it enough? More than enough. Financial records showing payments from an underground lab called MedLab Research. $26,000 over 6 months, broken into weekly payments of about $1,000 each. Bank transfers going to your brother's company the same days he documented giving subjects their doses. The financial trail alone would convict him. What about my parents? Jolie's face hardened. We found text messages on your mother's phone. She and Theo discussing dosages, discussing which weekends Finn would be there, discussing payment schedules. They knew. They were actively involved. I felt sick. They chose his car launch over their grandson's safety. Yeah, they did. Jolie paused, looked back at the house. I'm arresting them now. Accessories to child endangerment, conspiracy to facilitation of drug trafficking. They'll be processed tonight, arraigned in the morning. I watched through the window as Jolie went back inside. Saw her talking to my parents. Saw Dad's face go purple. Saw Mom collapse into a chair sobbing. Then officers moved in with handcuffs. Dad tried to pull away, yelling about lawyers and rights and illegal searches. 2 officers controlled him easily, cuffed him, read him his rights. Mom didn't resist, just cried as they cuffed her too. They were walked out separately to different patrol cars. Neither looked toward our vehicle. Maybe they didn't know I was there. Maybe they were too focused on their own problems to think about their grandson in the hospital. And Theo? I asked as Jolie returned. Him I want differently. He's got this Ferrari party tomorrow night at Desert Ridge Country Club. Big event, lots of people. Your parents will already be in custody, being processed through the system. But Theo, I want to arrest him in front of everyone. She looked at me carefully. You want to be there when we take him down? Yes. Then meet me outside the club at 8:45 tomorrow night. You watch from the lobby. I nodded. Connor, Kevin said quietly. You okay? No. But I will be. We drove back to the hospital in silence. I felt empty. Like I'd used up all my anger and all that was left was this cold, patient waiting. Tomorrow night it would all come down. Finn looked small in that hospital bed, but his eyes were clearer than they'd been in days. That was something. That was progress. He managed a weak smile when he saw me. Dad, my head hurts. I know, buddy. The doctors are taking good care of you. You're doing great. Where's Uncle Theo? He said he'd bring me the big Lego set, the one with the spaceship. My jaw clenched so hard. Uncle Theo's not coming, Finn. He's not going to be around anymore. Why not? Did I do something bad? No. No, buddy, you didn't do anything wrong. Uncle Theo did. He hurt you. And people who hurt you don't get to stay in your life. Finn processed this. His 7-year-old brain working through concepts no kid should have to understand. Is that why Grandma and Grandpa aren't here either? Yeah, that's why. Okay. He picked at the hospital blanket. Can Mrs. Smith come visit? She's better at the card game than you are. Despite everything, I smiled. She's coming this afternoon. She'll teach you how to beat me properly. Dr. Lopez came in for morning rounds 20 minutes later. He'd been checking on Finn every few hours, monitoring his vitals, running tests, professional but clearly invested. He checked the monitors, looked at Finn's chart, asked him some questions. What's your name? How old are you? What's your favorite dinosaur? Testing memory. Testing cognitive function. Finn answered them all, but slower than he should have. Lopez motioned me out to the hallway. Finn was already drifting back to sleep, exhausted from just being awake for 15 minutes. The dialysis worked. We've filtered most of the toxins from his system. His kidney function is stabilizing. Liver enzymes are trending in the right direction. Physically, he's recovering. But, Lopez sighed, took off his glasses, rubbed the bridge of his nose. Neurologically, we're seeing issues. His reaction times are significantly slower than they should be. Short-term memory is impaired. When I asked him what he had for breakfast, he couldn't remember. When I asked him what he did yesterday, he thought he was still at home. The brain scans show some inflammation in the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, regions responsible for memory formation, executive function, impulse control. Is it permanent? Too early to tell. Children's brains have remarkable plasticity. They can rewire, compensate, adapt in ways adult brains can't, but he'll need extensive therapy. We're looking at months, maybe years of rehabilitation. I leaned against the wall, felt the cold tile through my shirt. He should be playing soccer and learning multiplication, not relearning how to remember what he ate for breakfast. I know, I'm sorry. Lopez put his glasses back on. The good news is he's young enough that with proper intervention, he can make significant progress. The bad news is this will likely affect him for life. He might struggle in school. He might need accommodations, extra support. But Mr. Gilmore, he's alive. Another few days on those drugs, and we'd be having a very different conversation. After Lopez left, I went back in and sat with Finn. He was asleep, breathing steady, face peaceful. No idea what had been done to him. No idea his uncle had sold his health for $1,000 a week. Maybe that was a blessing. Mrs. Smith showed up at 2 p.m. with a deck of cards and a container of homemade soup. She took one look at Finn, then at me, and just shook her head. How bad? Brain damage, memory problems. He'll need therapy for months. She sat down heavily in the chair next to me. And your brother? Getting arrested tonight. Public arrest at his car party. Jolie wants maximum visibility. Good. That man should be ashamed in front of everyone. She opened the soup container. You eat. You look terrible. I'm fine. You're not fine. You haven't slept in 2 days. You haven't eaten. Finn needs you strong. So eat. I ate. The soup was good. Everything Mrs. Smith made was good. Kevin called around 4 p.m. You ready for tonight? Yeah. Jolie called me. Said she wants me there too, in case they need tech testimony about the evidence I helped secure. Wants to make sure chain of custody is documented from every angle. What time? 8:30. We meet her outside the club. She makes the arrest during his speech. After the call, I sat with Finn until 6 p.m. He woke up around 5:30, groggy and confused about where he was. I explained again. Hospital. Doctors taking care of him. He'd be okay. It took him a few minutes to remember, to piece it together. That forgetting scared me more than anything else. At 7 p.m., I kissed his forehead. I'll be back soon, buddy. Mrs. Smith's staying with you. Where are you going? I have something I need to do. Okay. He was already drifting off again. Mrs. Smith walked me to the door, squeezed my shoulder. Make it hurt, Connor. I will. I met Jolie outside Desert Ridge Country Club at 8:45 p.m. She had 4 officers with her, all in plain clothes. They looked like they could be guests at the party. Clean suits, professional look. We're going in during his speech, Jolie said, checking her watch. He starts at 9. We let him talk for about 5 minutes, let him get comfortable, let the crowd settle in, then we move. Kevin pulled up a minute later. Jolie had asked him to be there as a technical witness, someone who could testify to the forensic integrity of the evidence if needed. Never thought I'd be part of a takedown operation, he said. You're not, Jolie corrected. You're here as a witness only. You stay with Connor in the lobby. You watch. You document if needed. You do not interfere. We walked in together. The country club was everything I expected. Marble floors polished to a mirror shine. Everyone dressed like they were competing for best dressed at a yacht party. Through the ballroom doors, I could see the crowd. Had to be 200 people, maybe more. Networking, laughing, drinks in hand. And there on a raised platform at the front, bathed in spotlights like it was the star of the show, sat Theo's red Ferrari. My brother stood next to it. Designer suit that probably cost $3,000. Rolex catching the light. Hair perfect. He looked like a man who'd never made a bad decision in his life. Jolie and her team positioned themselves strategically, 2 near the main entrance, 2 near the side exits. Jolie herself stood just outside the ballroom doors, listening. Theo's voice boomed through the speakers, amplified and confident. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming tonight. Your presence here means the world to me. This car, he gestured dramatically at the Ferrari, represents more than just transportation, more than luxury. It represents what's possible when you refuse to accept mediocrity, when you refuse to let doubters tell you what you can't do, when you take risks that others are too afraid to take. Applause. Lots of it. People eating it up. Starting a business isn't easy, Theo continued, warming up. I've faced setbacks. I've faced people who said I couldn't do it, who wanted me to play it safe, to accept an ordinary life. My own family questioned me. He paused for effect. But I didn't listen. I pushed forward. I took chances. I believed in myself. And tonight, standing here with this incredible achievement, Jolie moved. Her team moved with her, synchronized and professional. They walked straight into the ballroom, badges out. The energy shifted immediately. Conversation stopped mid-word. Heads turned. You could feel the confusion ripple through the room. Jolie walked down the center aisle like she owned the place. Theo saw her and his whole face changed. He tried to recover, forced a smile. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems we have Theodore Gilmore. Jolie's voice cut through the room like a knife, firm and cold. You're under arrest for distribution of Schedule I controlled substances, child endangerment, fraud, conspiracy to commit felony assault, and theft. The room erupted. Gasps, shocked whispers, people reaching for their phones. Theo backed away from the microphone, hands up defensively. What? This is insane. There's been a mistake. I would never. We executed a warrant at your parents' residence, Jolie continued, loud enough for everyone to hear. Seized your computer, your files, your detailed documentation of 15 illegal drug trials, including video evidence of you administering Schedule I narcotics to a 7-year-old child, telling him the drugs were vitamins, paying him with toys while documenting the side effects for profit. Someone near the front screamed. Actually screamed. Others started backing away from Theo like he was radioactive. That's not... You don't understand my brother. He's trying to frame me. He hacked my files. He's always been jealous of my success. Jolie gestured to her officers. They moved in quickly, professionally. One grabbed Theo's right arm, another his left. He tried to pull away, but they had him. Cuffs clicked closed. Theodore, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. This is illegal, Theo was yelling now. This is harassment. I have lawyers. I have connections. You can't just... Jolie's voice cut through his panic. Your parents, Stephen and Kathy Gilmore, were arrested last night during the execution of our search warrant. They're currently being held pending arraignment. They've been charged as accessories. The text messages between your mother and you discussing dosages, payment schedules, and coordinating access to the victim were very enlightening. The crowd erupted again. More gasps, more phones out. Theo's face went from red to white. My parents? You arrested my parents? They had nothing to do with... The evidence says otherwise, Mr. Gilmore. The crowd was chaos now. People shouting questions, recording everything, backing away from Theo and the empty table where my parents had been sitting last night before their arrest. Theo was still yelling as they dragged him toward the door. It's not what it looks like. The lab made me do it. They forced me. My parents said the drugs were safe. He saw me then, standing in the lobby doorway. His eyes locked on mine, and for a second he stopped struggling. Just stared. Connor, his voice dropped, almost pleading. Brother, please. Tell them this is fake. Tell them you made it up. We're brothers. We're family. Don't do this to me. I looked him dead in the eye. Felt nothing. I don't have a brother, I said quietly. And you're going to pay for what you did to my son. His face twisted. You piece of... This is all your fault. You were always trying to sabotage me. This is revenge because you're a failure. The officers pulled him through the door. His voice faded as they took him outside, still screaming accusations, still blaming everyone but himself. Jolie walked over to where Kevin and I stood. That's done. They'll be processed tonight, arraigned tomorrow morning. Judge will set bail, but I'm going to recommend high amounts given the severity of charges and their financial resources. Thank you, I said. She nodded. I'm putting in for no contact as a condition of their bail. They won't be allowed within 500 feet of you or your son. No calls, letters, third-party messages, nothing. Violation means immediate bail revocation. Kevin put his hand on my shoulder. You okay? Yeah, I'm good. Through the ballroom doors, I could still see the Ferrari, abandoned on the stage, spotlights shining on it. All that metal and leather and engineering, bought with my son's health, paid for with stolen money and experimental drugs given to vulnerable people. Just a car. An expensive, meaningless car. Let's go, I said. I need to get back to Finn. We walked out into the cool Phoenix night. Behind us, the country club was still in chaos. None of it mattered. My son was safe. The people who'd hurt him were in custody. Theo got charged with 23 counts, including child endangerment, drug trafficking, fraud, conspiracy. The trial took 8 months because his lawyers fought everything. Tried to suppress the warrant evidence, claiming illegal search. Judge shut that down fast. Jolie had followed every procedure perfectly. Tried to claim the videos were doctored. Forensic analysts proved they weren't. Tried to blame the underground lab. Claimed Theo was just a middleman who didn't know what he was distributing. Prosecutor played the video of Theo laughing about easy money from a trusting kid. Yuri deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing took another month. I testified. Told the judge about finding Finn collapsed, about the hospital, about the brain damage that might never fully heal. Told him about the $12,000 stolen from Finn's college fund. The judge gave Theo 18 years federal. No parole in the federal system. He'll serve at least 85%, then supervised release with permanent no-contact conditions, meaning even when he's out in his 60s, he can never contact us. Violation sends him straight back. My parents got 7 years each for conspiracy and accessory charges. The theft charge got dropped in a plea deal, but the court seized everything. The Scottsdale house sold at auction. Retirement accounts emptied. They lost it all. 2 months in, Dad had a stroke. The prison social worker called asking if I wanted to visit. I said no. Hung up. Blocked the number. Mom sent letters. 37 over the first year. Started with rage. Shifted to manipulation. Ended with begging. I returned everyone unopened. The protective order started as a no-contact bail condition right after arrest. After conviction, the court made it a 2-year renewable protective order. Takes me 10 minutes every 2 years to renew. Finn's recovery was slow and frustrating. No miracle moments. Just grinding work. First 2 months were hardest. He'd forget conversations from an hour before. Ask the same questions 5 times a day. His motor skills were off. He'd reach for things and miss. Physical therapy 3 times a week. Occupational therapy twice a week. Speech therapy twice a week. Cognitive therapy once a week. Mrs. Smith drove us when I couldn't get time off. She never complained. Slowly, Finn improved. 6 months after the hospital, he could remember yesterday. 9 months after, he was reading again. A year after, he went back to school part-time with an aide. The neurologist said he'd probably always have some processing delays. Math would be harder. Reading comprehension might lag, but he'd adapt. 6 months after the arrests, I got a call from an attorney. Howard, a state lawyer, said he represented my grandfather's trust. Mr. Gilmore, I'm calling about the Gilmore Family Trust. Your grandfather William established a trust that was set to vest when his grandchildren turned 35. Your brother Theodore turned 35 6 months ago. Okay? The trust contains approximately $600,000 after taxes and growth. However, there's a morality clause. Any beneficiary convicted of a felony involving moral turpitude is immediately disqualified. Your brother's convictions triggered it. I sat down. What does that mean? It means you're the sole remaining beneficiary. Your grandfather didn't trust your parents. He wanted it to go to whichever grandson proved worthy. 600 grand. Theo poisoned Finn for $1,000 a week and lost 600,000. I didn't buy a sports car. Put half in trust for Finn's medical expenses and education. Paid off debts, fixed my car, upgraded Finn's insurance, gave Mrs. Smith $20,000. She tried to refuse. I insisted. The rest went to a foundation helping victims of illegal drug trials. Seemed right. Kevin stayed close. Showed up every week, brought Finn puzzles, treated him like family. A year and a half after everything, Finn and I moved to Flagstaff. Fresh start. Better job, better hours, house with a yard, school with strong special education support. One Saturday afternoon, we're at the park. Finn's climbing on the jungle gym, slower than the other kids but determined. He makes it to the top, yells down at me. Dad, look, I did it. I smile. Wave. Good job, buddy. He slides down, runs over, out of breath but grinning. Can we get ice cream? Sure. We walk to the ice cream shop on the corner. He talks about school, about his friend Carter, who likes dinosaurs too, about the book his teacher is reading to them. Normal 7-year-old stuff. The delays are there, subtle, but he's getting better every month. We walk home as the sun sets, turning the sky orange and pink. Finn holds my hand, sticky with ice cream, talking about whether T-Rex or Velociraptor would win in a fight. My phone buzzed that night. Text from Kevin. Dinner tomorrow night? Found a new place with good wings. I text back, yeah, 7 p.m., bringing Finn. Kevin. Obviously. Somewhere in Arizona, my brother is learning what consequences feel like. My parents are learning that enablers become prisoners too. I burned it all down. Every bridge, every connection, every tie to that toxic mess. And I'd do it again without hesitation. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.